Part 8. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 71. When did you come here? Yoon Fei-Yin lowered her head to hide the panic in her heart and asked. Just arrived. The cute little white rabbit jumped over and looked at Suchen with great admiration. Wow! Brother Junlin, I knew you would come. So happy. Suchen smiled and touched the cute little white rabbit's little head. He looked up at the guild members behind Yoon Fei-Yin and said with a smile. The guild is doing well. It seems you are going to take the elite development route? Yoon Fei-Yin smiled bitterly and said, Brother, please stop making fun of my sister. I might have been complacent if I didn't see other guilds. Now, I can't compare with others at all. Huh? Brother Junlin, are you the only one here? What about your guild members? Suchen shrugged. It's just me. One person? Yoon Fei-Yin smiled bitterly. It seems that this time we will all be spectators, sitting and watching the super guild gods fight. Suchen smiled and was non-committal. Tens of millions of people started a battle for the city building order on Broken Dream Island. More players are in front of the live broadcast platform, enjoying the game as a crowd. The number of viewers exceeded 1 billion in a very short period of time. Then it rapidly increased to 2 billion or 5 billion people. In order to live broadcast this once-in-a-lifetime battle, Shinyu Online Game Company specially spent a lot of money to invite the most famous game commentator in the game industry to explain this war. One is Miss, the most popular beauty commentator in country Z. The other one is the beautiful commentator from country R, Queen STX. Everyone, please don't be nervous, Mrs. Gentle voice sounded. These 1 million people are just cannon fodder to seduce the boss. There is a relatively low ground at the foot of the volcano. Once the boss is lured to that place, it will be time for the major guilds to launch a general attack. Queen STX asked with a smile. Miss, this battle for the city founding order is world famous and exciting. Now I ask Miss a topic that is of great interest to all the audience members. Who do you think will win in the end among so many guilds? Miss flipped her short hair around her ears and said, currently in China, the Galaxy Guild is naturally the most vocal. After all, they are the veteran among the first-line teams, with the highest gold content and the loudest reputation. And if you look at the middle of their guild team, please direct the camera to switch to the Galaxy Guild. Yes. Please look at the middle of them. What is that? It's the Wolf Cavalry. A total of 500 Wolf Cavalry. And it's not a hired NPC, but the Galaxy Guild's own Wolf Cavalry. I think, based on this alone, in the final fierce battle for the city founding order, Starship Troopers will definitely have the last laugh. Queen STX raised her eyebrows and said, Oh, I didn't expect the beautiful Miss to be so optimistic about Starship Troopers. But I heard that the Nordic god's whip also has powerful divine cavalry, and there are also a lot of them. Moreover, I have a secret to tell you this time. Our country's Sakura Purgatory Guild has prepared a super secret weapon for this battle for the city founding order. Miss immediately asked, what secret weapon? Queen STX showed a confused smile. I don't know very well, but everyone will know it in time. Miss sneered in her heart. This Baichi is quite tight-lipped. She originally wanted to find out some secrets for the Galaxy Guild. In fact, there are many other guilds that also have powerful power to compete for the city founding order. Miss changed her tone and said. For example, North M War Overlord Guild actually has 20 trebuchets placed in the team. Moreover, according to unreliable rumors, the opponent is suspected of possessing a small forbidden curse scroll. If this is true, it will have a decisive effect on the final direction of the battlefield. The Gold All-Star Guild of Country H even brought tortoise-shell chariots this time. Although there are only 10 of them, they must be used in the final battle. At this time, Queen STX suddenly interjected, I heard that there is an extremely famous player in your country named Junlin. He seems to have established a God of War guild. Why didn't I see him appear this time? What? Miss smiled, a hint of disdain flashing through her beautiful eyes. The player Junlin has really been in the limelight these past 2 days. But I think he is the kind of player who takes the lone wolf route. In this kind of large-scale core war, a lone wolf type like him has no place at all. In other words, his choice to withdraw from the battle for the city founding order also proved his wisdom. In fact, since the battle for the city's founding order, the era of lone wolves like King's Landing has ended. Queen STX sighed with a hint of meaning. It's really a pity not to see this legendary figure. East of Broken Dream Island. The Wangxin Tianxia Guild is 3,000 meters away from the Fire Phoenix Guild. At this time, there were fully 30,000 people. The Angry Angel stood behind and observed the battlefield situation. An intelligence officer ran over quickly and whispered, "Boss, that Junlin is here, right over at the Fire Phoenix Guild." The Angry Angel's eyes turned cold. "How many people did he bring?" "I've only seen him so far." "One person." The Angry Angel was stunned for a moment, then sneered. It seems that he now understands that when the game has progressed to this level, his personal power is very little, and he has simply given up the fight for the city founding order. When the player's personal town construction is fully launched, the gap between the individual and the guild will become wider and wider. At that time, it will be my turn to play with him. Jialan Temple Guild. The guild leader, a half-awake man, sits in the center and directs the advance and retreat of 100,000 guild members. After hearing the eyeliner's report, the half-awake fox frowned slightly. What do the Junlin brothers want to do? A person like him would never give up something as important as the city founding order. But why come here alone? Could it be that he also has invincible skills and wants to snatch the items dropped by the boss at the last moment? War Overlord Guild. Because there are auxiliary items given by the Templars. Suchen was imprinted with the Mark of Light. As soon as he appeared, the War Overlord discovered him. Inform the Lord Templar that the target has appeared, and we will find an opportunity to use the space confinement scroll to trap him. Yes. Kuroda Yufu of the Sakura Purgatory Guild also noticed Suchen's appearance. The hundreds of undead knights who had been hiding in the dark began to move here. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 72. It's moving, it's moving. The Lord of the Abyss is down. During the live broadcast, 2 beautiful commentators shouted. The 300-meter-tall Abyss Lord, holding a giant sword, rushed down the volcano. He chased and slashed the cannon fodder players running wildly. Wait until they reached the depression at the foot of the mountain. The main battle between hundreds of guilds. The group started to push up. Shield battle slot. High attack, long range preparation. Priest, pay attention to treatment. Millions of people are surrounding the Abyss Lord. Even if there are too many ants, they can kill an elephant. Although the Abyss Lord has 60 million HP and tens of thousands of attacks, his defense is only 100 points. Many players can hit dozens of points. Attack damage. A few elite players can even deal hundreds of damage. But this obviously angered the Abyss Lord. Magma Fire Rain. Be reduced to ashes, poor ants. The Abyss Lord raised the giant sword in his hand and activated his skills. Immediately, a burst of magma and fire rained down from high altitude, burning all the players within 100 meters around into white light. Then, the Abyss Lord slashed down with his sword, and another strike world-destroying slash. All players 100 meters ahead were instantly killed. In just 1 minute, tens of thousands of players died. The shield battle at the forefront was completely determined to die. The Abyss Lords were as high as 10,000. No one can resist the attack. One person died in the shield battle, and 10 more came immediately. The Abyss Lord's health began to decrease steadily. "Brother, let's go up too." Yunfei tightened the axe in her hand. "She has come. If she doesn't fight for it at all, she will always feel a little unwilling to watch the city building order being taken away by others. What's more, if you can't get the city building order, you can get other things. Equipment is also available. This is a legendary boss, and it has a high chance of dropping legendary equipment. Don't be impatient yet, wait until the boss Heavenly Sea of Fire is released before going." Suchen just finished speaking. The Abyss Lord, whose blood volume dropped by 10%, began to roar. "Damn ants, you are hurting me. Go to hell for me, Heavenly Sea of Fire." Boom. The hot breath billowed out from the Abyss Lord. Instantly, the surrounding area within a kilometer was turned into a sea of fire. -50, damage value per second appeared above the heads of all players. Lasts 30 seconds. Priest breasts live in shield battle. Death relay. It doesn't matter if others die, you can't die in a shield battle. You can't put the boss in the back. The commander roared in the guild channel. His eyes were red. This skill directly enveloped millions of people around him. And most of them were main combatants. The blood loss was 50 points per second, let alone 30 seconds. Many players couldn't even hold on for 10 seconds. People on the battlefield fell in droves. "It's now!" Suchen shouted. Yunfei immediately led the 5,000 women's army of the Fire Phoenix Guild and rushed towards the Abyss Lord. As long as it causes damage to the boss, it can be counted as a contribution point. When the time comes, you will be eligible to grab equipment. And a little contribution point for players who don't have any. The items dropped by the boss cannot be picked up during the 1-minute protection period. "Why? Brother, won't you come?" Halfway through the rush, Yunfei suddenly discovered that Suchen was missing. When he looked back, he was still standing there. Suchen curled his lips and said, "I'm not in a hurry." Yunfei was helpless and could only lead the members to rush towards the Abyss Lord. At the same time, he drank the fire resistance potion. At this time, the boss's Heavenly Sea of Fire skill had disappeared. However, the surrounding high temperature has not dissipated, and it can still cause 5 to 10 points of damage. Burning damage. Because the Fire Phoenix Guild took the fire resistance potion, it avoided burning and losing blood. It immediately established an advantage over other large guilds and began to cause considerable damage to the boss. More than half an hour later, the Abyss Lord's HP dropped to 5%. Less than 3 million blood. The elite groups of major guilds began to move. Scourge of God the Sanhedrin was the first to blow the trumpet. 600 mighty knights riding on the guild's mighty horses formed a team and charged towards the Abyss Lord with their guns drawn. In the live broadcast room, Miss and Queen STX started screaming like crazy. "It's moving, it's moving. The charge begins." The mighty Knight of God's Whip has an overall health volume of up to 2,000 points. Under the rapid impact, no shield battle can stop it. The mighty Knight is now a sharp knife. The strongest Dragon Knight in the expansion pack is probably like this. Galaxy Guild. Gang leader Zun Long, the mighty knight who stands on a high place and looks coldly at God's whip. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." I waved my hand with one hand. 500 wolf cavalry who were ready to attack suddenly rushed out. The target was not the Lord of the Abyss, but the mighty Knight of God's Whip. Seeing this scene, two beautiful commentators in the live broadcast room shouted. The wolf cavalry of the Galaxy Guild also launched a charge. Wait, their target is the mighty Knight. Oh my God! Is the war between the top guilds finally about to begin? The overall weight of 500 wolf cavalry is as high as more than 900 kilograms. At the same time, the wolf cavalry's swiftness, attack, and bite are beyond the comparison of war horses. The mighty knight is in danger. Boom, boom, boom. Just when the whip of God and the cavalry of the Galaxy Guild launched a charge, the 20 trebuchets prepared by the War Overlord Guild also launched an attack. Huge rolling stones were thrown far away by the trebuchets. Their goal is also not to attack the boss, but other guild members blocking their way. Each rolling stone caused huge casualties, grinding out a path of flesh and blood along the way. The Sakura Purgatory Guild of the Evil Camp walked out. 100,000 evil wizards were killed. Activate the skill Summon Undead. Undead bone warriors began to emerge from the corpses of dead players. In just a few minutes, the number reached millions. Then rush towards the light camp players on the battlefield and slaughter them wildly. Every fallen light camp player will eventually become a new undead bone warrior in the hands of the evil wizard. Miss in the live broadcast room is pretty, her face is pale. The Super Guild started clearing the place. North M players side. The War Overlord shouted coldly, the elite group is ready to escort the little boy to the entrance. Little boy is the nickname of the War Overlord for the small forbidden curse scroll. It means the atomic bomb placed in country R. This scroll has an attack range of up to 300 meters. As long as it is 2 to 300 meters close to the boss, casting the scroll can instantly achieve decisive results. At the same time, Gold All-Stars S10 tortoise shell chariots, driven by war horses, protect thousands of elite groups, trying to snatch the boss's final blow. Seeing that the situation was not good, Yunfi began to lead the guild members to retreat, leaving only 100 assassins behind, hiding around the boss. Just when the whole battlefield was turbulent, Suchen, who was standing at the back, took a deep breath. Summon the pet Mount Thunder Dragon. Boom. The Brontosaurus, which is 5 meters tall, 8 meters long and weighs 10 tons, first appeared. Immediately scare the surrounding players into retreating. What kind of monster is this? If we stand so far away and watch the show, can we still encounter the boss? Suchen jumped on the back of the Thunder Dragon. He raised the Shura sword high and shouted, "Come out, my Dragon Rider." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 73. Wow. Hundreds of dragon knights wearing golden battle armor, riding powerful earth dragons, all appeared behind Suchen. From dragon knights to dragon mounts. Standing solemnly, silent and motionless as a mountain. An invisible and brutal murderous aura began to spread to the surroundings. Most of the players standing on Suchen's side were just watching the excitement. Where have I seen such a battle? He was so frightened that he crawled to the side and dispersed. Damn it! There is actually a big boss ambushing a bunch of cavalry here. So gloomy. It scared me to death. What were they sitting on? Dinosaur. I suddenly had an ominous premonition. Suchen ignored the exclamations from the players around him. Directly show the game ID Junlin to unlock equipment special effects. A suit of dazzling gold and dark gold equipment immediately bloomed with brilliant light. The figure sitting on the Thunder Dragon makes him even more heroic. Suchen's cold eyes swept across the entire battlefield. This battle is the first battle of dragon riders in thousands of years. It's also Suchen's first battle in this life. The falcon tests its wings, and the wind and dust spread, the tiger roars in the valley, and all the beasts are frightened. The dragon knight's first cry, Suchen wants to let it shake the whole world. Dragon cavalry obeys the order. Tiger. Following Suchen's order, hundreds of dragon knights immediately gathered their golden spears and pointed at the sky. Charge. Boom. 101 sub-dragon mounts rushed out with a bang. The ground shook, and dust and smoke suddenly rose. With Suchen as the tip of the sword, hundreds of dragon knights behind form two wings in the shape of sharp knives. Like a hot knife cutting into butter, in an instant stab into the battlefield with thousands of people in front. The moment Suchen showed his ID number, the players around him screamed in horror. It's the King's Landing boss. Damn it! A full set of gold, and there seems to be dark gold equipment. Oh my god. The dark gold outfit that ranks number 1 on the divine outfit list is indeed his. What did he just say? Dragon Rider? Could this be the strongest title unit mentioned in the expansion pack, the Dragoon? Too strong. The size of the mount alone can crush the entire audience. In the center of the battlefield, only a few elite players besieged the Abyss Lord. The 5% health volume dropped to 4%. The Wolf Cavalry of the Galaxy Guild successfully intercepted the mighty Knight of God's Whip. The two cavalry arms collided head-on. Both sides were red-eyed. Because they know that in front of the cavalry, neither the formation of ordinary players nor the undead bone warriors summoned by the evil camp can stop the charge of the cavalry. Before artillery came out, cavalry was the master of the battlefield. Both the Galaxy Guild and the God's Whip Guild regard each other as their biggest enemy. The entire battlefield also centered on them. Miss and Queen STX in the live broadcast room started an exciting commentary around the two cavalry regiments. Just as they were frothing at the mouth, the soundproof glass wall of the live broadcast room was knocked by the director. The two women looked up in shock. I saw the director desperately pointing to the back of the big screen in the live broadcast room. He opened his big mouth and shouted something. The two women looked over blankly. On the big screen, the camera left the center of the battlefield at some unknown time. Road to the rear. This was originally a place for casual players to eat and watch movies. At some point, a group of cavalry appeared. A team of dragoons wearing golden armor and riding ferocious earth dragons. Hiss. Miss took a deep breath. Dragon, dragoon. Who is the leader? What cool equipment. Queen STX on the side held her face in her little hands and screamed. It's Jun Linsang. Oh my god. It's really Jun Linsang. So handsome. People knew he wouldn't be absent. At this time, on the live broadcast screen, the barrage has crazily covered the entire screen. Damn it! Dragoon. The number 1 military unit in God's domain. Everyone thought that the big boss of King's Landing didn't participate, but it turned out that they were holding back their ultimate move. What kind of equipment is this? All gold sets? Everyone is wearing bronze, but even your cavalry are wearing gold. Unacceptable. Others ride horses, but he rides a dragon. So handsome. The horizontal barrage is thick. I want to see my brother Junlin. At this time, Suchen's dragon rider was still 1 or 2,000 meters away from the center of the battlefield. However, the rapid attack of the hundreds of earth dragons caused the earth to shake, and the surrounding players screamed louder and louder. Finally attracted the attention of the top guild in the center of the battlefield. Boss, boss. Look behind you. Zunlong, the leader of the Galaxy Guild, who was directing his wolf cavalry to fight. Impatiently, he turned his attention to the back of the battlefield. Could it be that the secret weapon of those bastards in Sakura Purgatory has been activated? These bastards and Japanese devils, damn. What is this? Zunlong stood up suddenly, his eyes widened. His face was full of disbelief. I saw a group of majestic knights wearing golden armor in the distance, riding on huge earth dragon mounts, coming fiercely. The leader is a dragon knight, with a golden horn on his crotch, which is particularly powerful. The whole team of dragon knights forms a triangular front and sagittal shape, charging all the way, unstoppable. A member of the Galaxy Guild pulled out a virtual on the live broadcast screen. He pointed at the barrage and the commentator's explanation, and said in a trembling voice, "Boss, it's the Dragoon." It's the dragoons of King's Landing. Dragon, cavalry. Zunlong was stunned for a while. He suddenly reacted and roared on the guild channel. All wolf riders, get out of the way. Get out of the way. The wolf cavalry of the Galaxy Guild are famous for their speed and agility. It is relatively easy to get away. But the mighty knights of the God's Whip Guild opposite are not so easy. They are heavy cavalry, and the collision with the wolf cavalry has already let their momentum stop. Now it is extremely difficult to speed up and dodge. At this moment, Whip of God the guild commander made a surprising decision. Arrange yourself in formation to meet the enemy. Mighty Knight, charge. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 74. Although the momentum of Suchen's dragon cavalry was fast and fierce, but it hasn't really picked up speed yet. If the mighty knights of God's Whip dispersed now, there would still be a glimmer of hope. However, the commander's decision to order a formation to face the enemy shocked everyone present, including the audience watching the live broadcast. But God's Scourge Guild also has its own difficulties. Although the mighty knights of the Riding Principality are powerful, but it is a type of soldier that can only attack and is not allowed to escape. Once you escape, the overall cavalry attributes will be reduced by 50%. Morale is permanently reduced by 100%. This is equivalent to destroying this hard-won cavalry. If they die, they can spend a lot of money to resurrect them. In order to preserve their fighting power, they can only fight bravely. The captain of the cavalry blew the trumpet himself. Woohoo! A low horn sounded in the center of the battlefield. The God's Scourge Guild position in the distance even played a war song played on the Hatton horn. The sad sound of the piano filled the battlefield of tens of millions of people. More than 500 mighty heavily armored knights slowly gathered into a sagittal shape, firmly raising their spears and pointing diagonally forward. Charge! Charge! Kill with me! The cavalry captain yelled with red eyes. The heavy cavalry began to work hard to speed up. The distance between the two sides was less than 1,000 meters. If the speed was not raised, their ending would be even worse. At this time, a large number of English bullets were also poured in on the live broadcast screen. Glorious mighty knight, we can only move forward. No retreat. Charge! Charge! Courage belongs to the Nordics. Glory also belongs to Northern Europe. Damn dragoons! Invincible mighty knight, charge! These barrages filled the screen for a while. Yun Fi-Ian, who was directing the Fire Phoenix Guild to withdraw from the main battlefield, suddenly saw the mighty cavalry in front of him. He turned around and rushed out, and was startled. He thought he was going to kill her fire. The Phoenix Guild cleared the battlefield. When she followed the direction of the Divine Knight's attack, she looked back. From the north of the battlefield, she saw a group of dragon cavalry in golden armor, charging down with an indomitable momentum. Yun Fi-Ian was suddenly shocked. Eyes wide open. Sister! It's Brother Junlin. It's really Brother Junlin. The cute little white rabbit jumped on its little feet and cheered. The 5,000 women's army of the Fire Phoenix Guild also looked to the rear following the sound. Looking at the mighty dragon cavalry regiment, a pair of wonderful eyes were filled with splendor. Just now he said there was no rush, so, was he just waiting for this moment? Wait for this, moment of radiance. Yun Fi-Ian's beautiful eyes fell on Suchen, who was at the front of the dragon rider, and could no longer move away. The half-awake fox, who had been on the battlefield and remained in a state of aloofness, also saw the sudden changes on the battlefield at this moment. Seeing Suchen leading 100 dragon riders and rushing to the front, he was so shocked that his mouth opened wide. Dragoon. Brother Junlin, it's so hard for you to hide this from me. If I had known you had dragoons, the Jialan Temple, would have gone through fire and water for you. The half-awake fox regretted missing an excellent investment opportunity. At this time, the Abyss Lord's blood volume is less than 3%. Suchen led 100 dragon riders, ignoring the harassment from the surrounding hostile guilds. Advanced straight towards the Abyss Lord. The fireballs and arrows from the surrounding players couldn't break through their defenses at all. Anyone who dared to stand in front would be trampled into pulp by the Thunder Dragon and Earth Dragon. There is no one to stop you along the way, just keep moving forward. The distance from the Divine Knight is less than 300 meters. Suchen activates the skills of the whole team charge. The speed suddenly increased by 50%. The mighty knight who originally faced the enemy with a death wish saw such a fierce dragon knight. Morale immediately weakened. Wait until the distance between the two sides is less than 100 meters. The natural dragon pressure of the Thunder Dragon and the Earth Dragon made the mighty knight's horse falter. There has been no contact between the two parties. The mighty knights on the opposite side fell to the ground one after another. Wait until Suchen's dragoon regiment rushes in. Suddenly a crowd of people stood on their backs. Without even using weapons to attack, these heavily armored cavalry were trampled heavily under their feet by the dragon riders weighing several tons. Devastated all the way. Ding! You successfully killed Mighty Knight *532. Your Dragon Knight gains experience *532,000. The battle between the Mighty Knight and the Dragon Knight. The speed was beyond everyone's expectation. The English barrage on the live broadcast stopped abruptly. It was like someone pinched the throat. In the mouths of these Nordic players, they are heroic. The extremely powerful heavy armor knight, let alone fight to the death with Suchen's Dragon Knight. He is not even qualified to fight. One face to face, crush them all. There is no suspense. Seeing this scene, Zun Long, the leader of the Galaxy Guild, took a breath. The cold air makes me afraid. Damn, it's a good thing I retreated the wolf cavalry first, otherwise, I would have been ruthlessly crushed. So strong. Yun Fiyan was extremely shocked. In her eyes, the mighty cavalry was enough to crush the entire Fire Phoenix Guild. However, they were crushed by Suchen's dragon cavalry just after they met. The strength of the two sides was completely disproportionate. This brother is even more perverted. How on earth did he get such a powerful cavalry? For a time, Suchen's image in her heart became more and more mysterious. It also made her want to know more. After seeing this, the half-awake fox immediately applied to Suchen for the Jialan Temple and the God of War Guild the Alliance. The mighty knight was easily crushed, and he, who was sophisticated in the world, immediately saw the amazing strength of the Dragon Knight. If he doesn't hug his big legs now, he will never have a chance to hug him in the future. The online game God's Domain was full of doubts, allowing this old fox to sensitively catch a hint of crisis. And the extremely powerful Suchen became his only choice to survive this crisis. In the live broadcast room, Miss, who originally said that the era of King's Landing was over, was speechless. The Wolf Cavalry Regiment fled, and the mighty knights were defeated too quickly. Suchen's power could almost overflow the live broadcast screen. The barrage was already full of ridicule and abuse. What about the end of the promised era? My eldest lady. This girl's commentary skills are not good either. Queen STX felt happy when she saw Miss. She quickly took over the topic and said. Jun Linsang came out with his dragon cavalry, and crushed the prestigious Shinwei cavalry in the first battle. I just received a call from the president of our country's Sakura Purgatory Guild. Sakura Purgatory hopes to form an alliance with the powerful Junlin San. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 75. Sakura Purgatory Guild President Kuroda Mayo. Originally, he and Suchen became mortal enemies because of the Dark Temple and the Lucky Gem. But seeing Suchen's powerful dragon cavalry, immediately, greed arose in my heart. This invincible crown-ranked unit, should belong to our Sakura purgatory. Someone is here to win over Junlin at all costs, and he must get the secret of the dragoons out of his mouth. Then, President, do you want to seize the city building order? Idiot. Are you still asking such a stupid question? Of course I want to grab it. President Junlin and his dragon riders have already rushed towards the Abyss Lord. If we don't take action, he will take away the city founding order. Nani? Stop him. President, I can't stop you. Run over the mighty knight. The 300-meter tall Abyss Lord suddenly appeared in front of Suchen. The few thousand remaining elite players from each guild are still fighting to the death against the Abyss Lord. Seeing the unfamiliar dragon cavalry appear, these elite players quickly accelerated their attack speed. It is clear. Suchen's dragon cavalry is here to steal the boss's final blow and the city's founding order. They paid such a high price. After millions of people were hacked to death by the Abyss Lord, it was impossible for Suchen to steal the fruits of victory. 2.5%, 2%, 1.5%, 1%. With only a trace of blood left, the Abyss Lord's health was in danger. The furious Lord of the Abyss once again activated his area of effect skill Heavenly Sea of Fire. Hold on. The priest relays blood. The final blow cannot be taken away by others. Gold All-Star Team, hold on. The glory of the Great H country is today. Galaxy Guild, we cannot let these ghosts steal our city founding order. Is there anyone left in the world? Pay attention to grab the final blow. The assassin is ready to steal the order. When Suchen rushed to the Abyss Lord with his dragon rider, the latter only had 400,000 health left. The Abyss Lord turned around and looked at Suchen. Dragon, ride. Impossible. How can there be dragon knights on the ground? You, the remnants of a subjugated country, all deserve to die. The Lord of the Abyss raised his giant sword, pointed it at Suchen, and struck down hard. The latter looked at the opponent coldly and shouted, Dragon Rider, obey the order. United as one. 100 dragon riders immediately waved their spears and shouted in unison, united as one. A golden blade of light shot out from the spear tips of hundreds of dragon riders. They all converged on Suchen's Shura sword. In an instant, the dark golden Shura sword was as dazzling as the sun. Die! Suchen struck hard at the Abyss Lord in front. 100-meter-long golden light blade slashed towards the opponent. Instantly penetrate the opponent's body. Minus 410,000. When this terrifying damage floated out from the head of the Abyss Lord, thousands of elite players around were stunned. Not to mention them, even the top guild members in the periphery, including the viewers watching the live broadcast, and the two female commentators. Everyone was stunned. 410,000 points of attack. There are tens of millions of players present, and from beginning to end, no one has hit 410,000 attack points. Not to mention 410,000, not even tens of thousands. Jun Linsang is really so perverted? Queen STX originally wanted to say that Suchen was too strong. When the words came to his mouth, he felt that the word strong was not enough to describe Suchen, so he changed it to beautiful. His attack should have great limitations. There are definitely limits. Otherwise, the entire game balance will collapse. Well, I guess it can only be released once a day, or once a week. Even if it can only be used once a day, it is still very powerful. The effect of grabbing the first kill of the boss in the midst of thousands of troops is so immediate. The Abyss Lord's blood volume was emptied, and his red eyes suddenly solidified. With all the unwillingness, he suddenly fell to the ground. The 300-meter-tall body crushed hundreds of elite players into pulp. Suchen immediately released his clone Ji Mengli and held him in his arms. Ding! Congratulations on successfully killing the legendary boss Lord of the Abyss and gaining experience points *1 million, level up experience bonus. Ding! You've reached level 12. Gain 11 free attribute points. Get the Dragon King Bloodline Ancestral Dragon Blessing to increase the upper limit of health by an additional 200 points. Ding. Server-wide announcement. Player Junlin successfully killed the first legendary Lord level boss in the server and gained add 500 town reputation in the server. Under the corpse of the boss lying on the ground, there were little lights flashing. Grab the city building order. Grab legendary equipment. Boss explodes, everything is mine. The scene instantly became chaotic. Thousands of elite players around them rushed towards the body of the Abyss Lord. Those who dared to block the road or run in front would be attacked fiercely with their hands raised. The warriors charged, shielded, and swept across all directions. A skill of 6 flew up. I had never seen them so brave when fighting the Abyss Lords just now. Even other guild players on the periphery, including San Juan scattered among the major guilds, all turned red-eyed at this time, and all turned to rush over here. Yun Fiyan also left 100 assassins here. Seeing the chaotic scene in front of him, he quickly ordered to assist Junlin with all his strength and clear out other players around to grab the treasure. However, after Suchen made the final blow, there was no he wanted to grab the treasure. Hundreds of Dragon Knights stood behind him, motionless, looking at everything in front of them coldly. At the same time, the dropped items under the Abyss Lord actually flew out under the eyes of the surrounding players. Then they all fell into the hands of Ji Mengli in Suchen's arms. Ding. You get gold coins *1000. Ding. You get the legendary skill book Critical Strike *1. Ding. You get the legendary weapon Awakening of the World *1. Ding. You get level 1 Urban Construction Drawing *1. Ding. Congratulations on triggering a lucky event. Level 1 Urban Construction Drawing has been upgraded to Level 3 Urban Construction Drawing. Ding. Congratulations on getting the first city building order in the server. A series of system prompts came. Not only did he get the first city building order in the server, but the city construction drawings also triggered a lucky event. Suchen put everything in his backpack. He gently pinched Ji Mengli's delicate face and was about to turn around. Something suddenly changed overhead. Within 300 meters of the surrounding area, there was a sudden strong wind. The rioting magic elements are gathering crazily here. Someone opened the forbidden curse scroll. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 76. Suchen looked up at the dark clouds in the sky and glanced around. He immediately discovered that an assassin not far away had torn open a scroll and looked at Suchen with a sneer. Then, he stretched out a finger and scratched his throat. Provocative, self-evident. Boss, little boy has been cast. I believe that this time, not only will we be able to get the city founding order, but all the magical equipment on Junlin will also be revealed. Suchen came all the way and killed more than 1,000 people. His name had already turned red and black. If he died, his equipment would definitely explode. Boom. To the west, there was another rumble and vibration. Everyone looked around and saw only hundreds of giant meat-grinding chariots covered with fine steel spikes, driven by thousands of Sakura Purgatory players, rushed towards the center of the battlefield. President Kuroda Mayo's timing was just right. Waiting until his giant mincing machine the meat chariot rushed to Suchen's side, and the forbidden curse scroll had almost been cast. It didn't matter even if there was some loss. No one could survive under the forbidden curse. No one could stop it under the giant meat-grinding chariot. In this absolute during the perfect unmanned vacuum period, the city founding order and divine equipment that Suchen revealed were all his. Moreover, he also knew that Suchen still had lucky gems on him. he would hand over the lucky gems to the Dark Temple when the time came. His Sakura Purgatory Guild will definitely be able to take this to the next level. As for the alliance with Suchen's God of War Guild that I told my subordinates before. Haha, the dead dragon rider is not that important. What kind of alliance is this? It's his fault, he is the enemy of my Kuroda charioteer. In the sky, the strong wind gradually turned into invisible wind blades. In a space with a diameter of 300 meters, it suddenly blew up. The surrounding players who were cut by the wind blade immediately had a super high damage value of -1500, floating above their heads. Don't talk about ordinary players. Even the mighty knights and wolf cavalry couldn't stand this kind of forbidden curse scroll. Suchen's dragon cavalry had an overall defense of 1100 and also received 400 points of damage. Then he had a thought. Hundreds of dragon knights immediately entered the dragon general's space. And he himself took out a single teleportation scroll. Ding! Transfer failed. The surrounding space within a kilometer range has been prohibited from moving in any space. Duration, 30 minutes. Suchen was startled. He suddenly looked towards the direction of the War Overlord Guild. He saw a blonde-haired War Overlord looking towards Suchen. He had a space confinement scroll in his hand, which he had just torn open. Haha, Junlin, don't think about leaving, stay here forever. The War Overlord waved with one hand. The men next to him immediately reported the message to the Templars hiding in the distance. King's Landing has been tricked. It's time to reap the final fruits of victory. As for the giant meat-grinding chariot of Sakura Purgatory, as long as the Necromancer Knights do not appear. The hundreds of Templar Knights on the War Overlord's side represent invincibility. The players around the Abyss Lord were all dead. Small forbidden curse scroll released by the War Overlord Guild. In the first wave of attacks, except for Suchen, all the other thousands of players were wiped out in seconds. Those players who originally rushed over to grab the treasure saw this terrifying scene and hurriedly retreated. Grass. So insidious. Release the forbidden curse at this time. This is called the mantis stalking the cicada, with the aureole behind. This King's Landing thought he could run away by snatching everyone's first kill and the city's founding order, but he didn't expect that he had other tricks up his sleeve. This kind of forbidden curse, even a dragon rider, must die. This is the competition between the big guys. The methods are endless. This melon tastes so good. I wonder whose hands the city founding order will fall into. However, what everyone didn't expect was. Under the forbidden spell, one wave of attacks passed by, two waves of attacks passed by. Suchen rode the Thunder Dragon, still standing firmly in the center. His blood volume remained unchanged at all, and his expression remained calm. His own defense is as high as 1061. Thunder Dragon's defense is also as high as 800, and there is also a skill like hard armor with a defense bonus of 100%. With the two combined, even the wind blade of the small forbidden scroll couldn't break through his defense. See this scene. The jaws of the surrounding players and viewers watching the live broadcast almost dropped. Depend on. What kind of abnormal defense, can't even break his defense with a forbidden spell. What a slap in the face. Forbidden spells can't hurt him, so do we have to use cannons to kill him? Haha, cannon. Have you watched the video of Nordic Falcon Plateau? The boss of Junlin knows how to use a 6-barreled Gatling. Be careful, people will sweep you into a sieve. The War Overlord frowned even more. But thinking about the Templar Knights behind him, he just sneered. Yunfi and the half-awake fox breathed a sigh of relief. They thought highly of Suchen in their hearts. Fuck. Can't this kill him? The assassin who released the small forbidden curse scroll cursed bitterly and turned around to leave. How could Suchen let him go? He lightly patted the Thunder Dragon sitting down. The latter let out a low roar. The golden lone figure on his forehead, he quickly gathered the ubiquitous thunder elements around him. Then he pointed it towards the assassin. Click, boom. A thunder as thick as an arm suddenly landed on the head of the astonished assassin. -1598. Ding. The player deadly sneak attack has been killed by you. The clone Black Dragon G Mengli gained experience points *350. 2 pieces of silver equipment flew towards G Mengli in Suchen's arms. G Mengli's current defense is 1,300 points. The wind blade of the Forbidden Curse scroll can still cause some damage to her. Suchen put the clone into his body. Wave after wave of wind blades blew by. This small Forbidden Curse scroll blew through 10 waves of wind blades in 30 seconds before gradually stopping. At this time, hundreds of the Sakura Purgatory Guild, the giant meat grinding chariot, rushed over again at the right time. It went straight towards Suchen and strangled him. President Kuroda Mayo looked at the center of the battlefield and laughed endlessly. Bullshit Forbidden Curse, thunder is loud but raindrops are small. Let's take a look at my giant meat mincing chariot. The frontal attack exceeds 2,000 points. Comes with tier continuous bleeding damage and necromantic weakness negative status. Under the giant meat grinding chariot, no one can stop it. King's Landing, obediently become the fat meat in the mouth of my Kuroda charioteer. Ha ha ha. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 77. The surrounding kilometer space is imprisoned, and the teleportation scroll cannot be used. All Suchen can do now is to fight his way out. At that moment, he once again released the hundreds of dragon knights in the dragon general's space. Raise the Shura sword in your hand high. He pointed diagonally at the giant meat grinding chariot charging towards him and shouted angrily, charge. Boom. The group skill charge is activated again. The overall speed of the dragon knights increases by 50%. In a very short distance and time, the speed and impact force were increased to an extremely terrifying level. The Sakura Purgatory Guild has not obtained the Bone Horse yet. The giant meat grinding chariot can only be propelled by human power. Players from various guilds along the way tried to avoid him. Players who were stunned or unable to dodge were immediately chopped into pieces by the chariot wrapped in fine steel spikes. The scene is extremely bloody and violent. However, this situation only further stimulated the Sakura Purgatory Guild players who were pushing the cart inside. These evil camp players were stimulated by the smell of blood and became even more excited. Howling, pushing the chariot towards Suchen's dragon rider. Strangling. Strangling. Kill everything. Sakura Purgatory is invincible. Just 10 seconds later, the two sides collided. The 5-meter tall, 8-meter long, and 10-ton Brontosaurus directly knocked over the giant meat-mincing chariot that hit it head-on. It also pushed it from behind. 10 members of the Sakura Purgatory Guild were also thrown away together. The giant meat-mincing chariot was indeed strong, and the impact of the Thunder Dragon did not break it. However, the giant meat-mincing chariot covered with fine steel, Sakura the people in Purgatory wanted to turn over, but they couldn't do it in a short time. As for the dragon riders on both sides of Suchen, 20 elite dragon riders were at the front. The elite earth dragons, which weighed 6 tons, also ground these manpower into meat. The chariot overturned. Then it was picked up by ordinary dragon knights from behind. The Sakura Purgatory players inside were like rag bags. They were either crushed to death by the chariot, or were thrown away and trampled to death by the earth dragon, or shot through by the dragon knight. The entire dragon cavalry front arrow formation did not undergo major deformation during the collision with the giant meat grinding chariot. It still penetrated all the way, unstoppable. It directly smashed the hundreds of giant meat grinding chariots of the Sakura Purgatory Guild. The car formation collided with each other. At the same time, it left a path of flesh and blood behind it. Such a simple and rough collision. It completely demonstrated to the world the power of the dragon riders of the ancient Dayan Empire. Two female commentators in the live broadcast room. The members watched the whole collision without saying a word. The brains of both of them were in a down state and went blank. Especially Queen STX. Although she personally admires strong people like Suchen. But Sakura Purgatory is the most powerful guild in her country. Seeing the most powerful chariot in her country's guild being smashed away by Suchen's dragon rider, the mood was so mixed that it's really hard to describe. Even the live broadcast, the barrages on the screen were much sparse. It was not until the end of this crosstalk that barrages suddenly burst out to fill the screen. Too strong. So cool. Penetrating inserting. Penetrating inserting. Wear them all the way. This is the real cavalry. A truly invincible cavalry. It was so violent, I was so scared that I dropped the Binqualogo in my hand to the ground. Sakura Purgatory Guild President Kuroda Mayo looked at the messy car formation. From a face full of disbelief, to horror, to a face as deep as water. Bastard, my chariot can't collapse so fast. If I can get the Bone Spirit Dragon horse from the Dark Temple in advance, the result will definitely not be like this. Immediately send someone to inform Lord Necromancer Knight that the target has been attracted to us. Hi. Inform all the evil camp players in country are here that this battle is a battle to establish a nation in the online game of God's domain. Everyone must do their best. All attacks, be sure to keep Junlin and his dragon riders here. Create opportunities for Lord Necromancer Knight. Although Suchen was not injured this time. But the elite dragon knights and ordinary dragon knights in the rear still suffered a little damage. Dragoons are immune to negative control. The weakness of the giant meat grinding chariot has no effect on them. However, the physical damage caused by the head-on collision and tearing still caused them approximately more than 2,000 points of damage. However, compared to their overall blood volume of 8 to 9,000, this amount of damage is not enough to break their muscles and bones. He saw all the Sakura Purgatory Guild members surrounding him. Suchen frowned slightly. He didn't believe that Kuroda Ifa was a person who would rather live in pieces than live in ruins. He knew that ordinary players fighting against his dragon rider would be like an egg hitting a rock, but he still did it. Then, there must be a conspiracy. So, even the Death Knight is here. Suchen sneered in his heart. He was given a 10th level mark of light by the Church of Light. This made him extremely sensitive to the aura of people from the Church of Light. As early as when he faced the giant meat-grinding chariot, he felt the presence of the Templars. He had snatched the lucky gem they had worked so hard to find. It was impossible for these church minions to let him go so easily. But Suchen never thought about fighting these Templar Knights and Necromancer Knights head-on. After all, the current Dragon Rider level it's not high enough, so a frontal charge is no match for these level 76 realm forces. The top priority is to rush out of the kilometer space confinement range. As long as you rush out and rely on a single teleportation scroll, these church forces will only follow behind. Dragon cavalry obeys the order. Come and kill with me. Suchen raised his Shura sword and shouted. Hundreds of dragon riders roared in unison, kill. Although there were hundreds of people, the killing sound went straight into the sky, and everyone was terrified when they heard it. Boom! 100 dragon riders, like 100 heavy tanks. With the momentum of crushing everything, they crushed the surrounding evil camp players and the ones they summoned. Crush all the undead bone warriors. At this moment, a loud roar suddenly came from the air. Suchen looked up. 10 giant eagles, under the control of Viking guild players, grabbed the boulder with their sharp claws, swooping towards Suchen. King's arrival. Didn't expect it? Falcon Plateau, you kill us like dogs. Today is our moment of revenge. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 78. The surrounding players all looked up for a while. Apart from Suchen's black dragon, this was the first time they saw a flying pet. Especially giant flying pets like giant eagles that can carry and grab heavy objects. Revenge? I'll repay you with paralysis. Suchen sneered and separated the black dragon Ji Mengli. When the latter saw the giant eagle in the sky, it was like seeing the most delicious food. She immediately transformed into the real body of the 15-meter-long black dragon, spread her wings, and soared into the sky. The black dragon let out a huge dragon roar at the 10 giant eagles. The giant eagle that originally swooped over like a fighter jet was immediately frightened and flipped in the air. Even the Viking Guild players on its back were blown away. The huge boulder from its claws fell loose and hit the Sakura Purgatory camp below, causing huge casualties like the trebuchet. Under the power of the black dragon, the giant eagle's flight was somewhat unruly. It was quickly caught by Ji Mengli 1, with 2 claws. The giant eagle's wings were torn off on the spot, and it fell from a high altitude. The entire airspace was immediately turned into a slaughterhouse by Black Dragon Ji Mengli. The cheers of the Viking Guild stopped abruptly. It was not official yet. When you appear on the stage, you have already announced the curtain call. Too strong. He can't be defeated on the ground, and no one can match him in the air. This King's Landing is truly invincible. Invincible? No, it's his end. Look over there. Northeast corner of the battlefield. Suddenly there was a louder and louder noise. Then it suddenly became quiet again. All the players looked at it. Even the live broadcast camera quickly switched to that side. I saw a group of black armored knights, riding majestic flaming horses, slowly approaching. On their chests, they wear the emblem of the Church of Light. But this time it was obviously not to spread light. Biting murderous auras spread from around them. A group of players from the War Overlord Guild, after chatting with them with flattering faces, immediately pointed at Suchen, who was fighting endlessly in the Sakura Purgatory Guild. This team of black armored knights immediately tidied up the team and rushed towards Suchen. The War Overlord laughed. King's Landing, you have evaded the ancient temple once. This time you have a space confinement scroll. Let's see how you can evade it. Keep your lucky gems and everything else about you. In the live broadcast room, Miss finally exclaimed. The Church of Light, are the Templars of the Church of Light. A full 100 people. In this battle for the city founding order, the War Overlord Guild in North M actually attracted the Templar Knights of the Church of Light. Queen STX obviously knew more about the Templars, and said with a hint of trembling. The Templars, minions of the Church of Light, are level 70 paladins with a HP of 100,000 and an attack of 5,000. At this stage, no player is their enemy. Including Jun Linsang and his dragon riders. What's even more terrifying is that the leader is the Templar commander of the Church of Light, with a blood volume as high as 200,000 and an attack point of tens of thousands. I don't know why the War Overlord Guild can invite the Knights Templar, but obviously this time, Jun Linsang is really in danger. In the picture, hundreds of Templar Knights with extremely powerful auras are charging faster and faster. The cold murderous aura, the pointed spear, and the dazzling cold light. Obviously, all the Templar Knights at level 70, not only did he not underestimate the enemy of Suchen and his dragon riders, but he also clearly wanted to go all out. On the live broadcast barrage, the hearts of billions of players were also raised. It's over, even the Knights Templar have appeared, the King's Landing boss won't live long. How can I fight a level 70 Templar, a dragon knight whose attributes are absolutely over the top in King's Landing? This time, the one who was crushed was definitely the dragon rider. Wow! I dare not look at it. Brother Junlin, don't die. Fire Phoenix Guild, Yun Fi Ian saw this scene. Without thinking, he immediately ordered all members, assist King's Landing in breaking out. Without any hesitation, he picked up the 2 axes in his hands and led an army of 5,000 women to charge towards the Knights Templar. Yun Feiyan doesn't care that much. She had accepted Suchen's favor twice, and now that Suchen was in danger, it was time to repay the favor. She has a clear distinction between love and hate, and she is never sloppy in doing things. And the half-awake fox in Jialan Temple. At this time, I was a little confused. The dragon riders of King's Landing are indeed very powerful. But the Templars he provoked were obviously more powerful. Do you want to help him now? Or continue to wander among many top guilds, trying to please everyone? The half-awakened fox is in his 40s, and he has more and more complicated things to consider. Seeing the 5,000 women's army of the Fire Phoenix Guild, under the leadership of Yun Feiyan, brazenly attacking the Knights Templar, it was necessary to exchange his life for Suchen's breakout. The half-awake fox had to admire Yun Feiyan's courage. At this moment, a loud roar suddenly came from the center of the battlefield. Facing the extremely oppressive force of the Templar Knights, charge! Suchen raised the Shura sword in his hand high. Glory! Hundreds of dragon riders shouted in unison, Tiger! I'm here! Pride! Tiger! I am here! The great flame dragon rider will never surrender. Fight to the death! Suchen raised his sword and roared. Fight to the death! Fight to the death! Fight to the death! Buzz! A golden ripple, with Suchen as the source, spreads towards the hundreds of dragon knights behind him. The dragon general's halo, all dragon knights attack and defense add 150%. Ding! Congratulations on triggering a lucky event and upgrading the dragon's halo. All dragon knights attack and defense add 200%. Charge! Hundreds of dragon knights, following Suchen's orders, roared into action. They formed a sharp formation and rushed towards the powerful Templar knights without fear of death. Seeing this scene, a little bit of the dust-covered heart of the half-awake fox felt in his chest for many years. The blood seemed to be stirred up. Fuck it. It is better to provide help in times of need than to add icing on the cake. It is better for the city founding order to fall into the hands of Junlin than to be taken away by those ghosts. The half-awakened fox immediately summoned all 50,000 members of the Jialan Temple and rushed towards the Sakura Purgatory Guild. On the Galaxy Guild's side, the gang leader Zunlong saw the Fire Phoenix Guild's actions. He smiled bitterly. He immediately ordered the Galaxy Guild to start attacking. Boss, where to attack? Where else could it be? Didn't you see that my sister is charging? Fuck those war overlord gang of North Americans to death. The city founding order cannot fall into the hands of the ghost. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 79. Kill. 100,000 members of the Galaxy Guild suddenly attacked the War Overlord Guild. This completely sounded the clarion call for this large-scale melee. Other guilds, as well as the audience watching the battle, were a little confused. In the live broadcast room, the female commentator queen from country RSTX asked. What are you, the Guild of Country Z, doing? Miss. Miss also looked confused and said with a wry smile looking at their movements, they should be attacking the War Overlord Guild and the Sakura Purgatory Guild. Queen STX was in disbelief. Why? Do they have an alliance with Junlin Sang? Maybe, probably, maybe, yes. The center of the battlefield. The captain of the Templar Knights saw Suchen rushing towards him with hundreds of dragon riders. Show a cruel smile. The remnants who have been on the run for thousands of years, dare to fight against the light. He raised the black spear in his hand and held it high. Fight for the light, judge evil. May the God of light grant us the power of judgment. A ray of holy light fell from the sky, looming over every Templar. Attack add 50%. The original attack level of 5,000 points has been increased to 7,500 points again. The Templar commander's attack power has been increased to 15,000 points. The body is shrouded in holy light, and the morale of the Knights Templar is greatly boosted. Fight for the light. Judge evil. Defeat the remaining evildoers. Such a powerful Templar order once again made everyone pessimistic about whether Suchen's dragon riders could survive this battle. The War Overlord commanded the members to block the Galaxy Guild's attack. While looking closely at Su the Side of Dust. Great Flame Dragon Rider? If you keep the secret until level 70, I really can't do anything to you. However, if a level 15 Dragon Knight dares to show off, then don't blame the Church of Light for strangling you in the cradle. The Sakura Purgatory Guild camp is sandwiched between the Templar Knights and the Dragon Riders. The two powers are fighting, and these players in Sakura Purgatory will definitely become cannon fodder at their feet. On the other side, there is also the half-awakened Fox Jialan Temple Rushover. Kuroda Yuffie cursed secretly, and quickly ordered the guild members to disperse to the southeast. Only the summoned undead bone warriors were pushed up. The Fire Phoenix Guild, which originally wanted to rush over to save Suchen, because there were too few people, immediately he fell into the sea of undead bone warriors. However, Suchen's eyes immediately became clear. A straight and smooth road led directly to the Knights Templar on the opposite side. Charge! Charge! 1 minute later. The distance between the two sides was less than 100 meters. The Shura sword held high by Suchen suddenly struck down. United as one. United as one. 100 Dragon Knights swung a heavy blow, and the golden blade of light gathered at the tip of Suchen's sword. A 100-meter-long golden blade suddenly slashed towards the Templar commander at the front. The latter's eyes showed fear. Impossible, you have become a dragon general. With the skill united as one, only the dragon general can gather the power of the entire army and strike a fatal blow. This terrifying skill has long been sealed in the oldest classics of the Church of Light. The Templar commander has only heard of it. Now I saw with my own eyes the sword that cut the sky and destroyed the earth, but I couldn't dodge or stop it. Phew. Minus 500,000. The dragon's halo level has been increased, and the attack limit of the United as One skill has also been increased a lot. Suchen's sword dealt up to 500,000 damage. Directly cut the 200,000 HP Templar commander into two, including his men and his horses. Ding! Templar commander has been killed by you. The clone Black Dragon G Mengli gains experience points *10,000. A piece of dark gold armor fell from the dead body of the Templar commander. Black Dragon G Mengli, who had enjoyed a feast at high altitude, swooped down with a loud roar. While taking away the fallen armor, she walked toward the Holy Spirit. The Knights of the Temple breathe out blazing hot dragon breath. Damn it! The King's Landing boss actually killed the Templar commander. He could actually use this terrifying attack skill a second time. So perverted. It's so outrageous. Is this still what players at level 10 should do? Aren't you supposed to just be cannon fodder? Appa is so handsome. Don't let go of whatever you like. The live barrage immediately exploded with comments. The War Overlord who has been paying attention to the fighting here also has a livid face. How can it be? He actually killed the Lord Knight? How dare he? Suchen killed the Templar commander with one blow. The Templar Knights behind him were shocked. But at this time, the mounts of both parties were maneuvering at high speed. In just 3 seconds, the two sides collided with each other. The Earth Dragons heavy the weight of the Knights knocked over the Templars without any suspense. Although the Flame Horses were blessed by the Church of Light and were not affected by the dragon's power of the Earth Dragon. However, the disparity in tonnage and size between the two sides was not something that these Flame Horses could bear. But the super high attack of the Templar Knights also caused considerable damage to the Dragon Cavalry. The two sides rushed past each other. The Templar knights fell on their backs. But except for the Templar knight commander who was killed by Suchen, the other knights were unharmed. Only losses were suffered. They lost more than 2,000 health points, which was negligible compared to their 100,000 health points. On Suchen's side, although the Dragon Cavalry Regiment had a complete formation, their health volume all dropped by more than 4,000 points. Another one, the 80 ordinary Dragon Knights would definitely not be able to withstand the wave impact. The 20 elite Dragon Knights were also in danger. The two female commentators in the live broadcast room also noticed this. Miss analyzed calmly. Despite this wave of hedging, King's Landing's Dragon Riders seemed to have the upper hand and killed the Knight Commander on the opposite side. However, the other Templar Knights suffered minimal losses, and the health of King's Landing's Dragon Riders dropped by half. If there is another hedging, the Dragon Riders of King's Landing will be completely wiped out. Queen STX on the side suddenly shouted. Wrong. Jun Linsang doesn't want to continue to fight hard, he wants to break out of the encirclement. Etc. There seems to be something in the dense forest ahead on the right. Just when Suchen was about to take the Dragon Knight and take the opportunity to break out of the confinement range of space. In the dense forest on the right front, hundreds of undead knights suddenly rushed out. The timing of these undead knights' attacks was perfectly timed. This is when Suchen's Dragon Rider is at its weakest. Lord of Darkness, grant us the power of death. The captain of the undead knights headed by him let out a hoarse cry. Immediately, countless grey undead auras surged out from the ground, lingering around the hundreds of undead knights. All attack add 50%. The undead knight captain, who has been observing secretly, will not give Suchen's dragoons a chance to survive. This time, he wants to end this first dragoon regiment in thousands of years. Then get the lucky gem. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 80. Miss noticed the undead knight in the picture and asked Queen STX. Is this the NPC knights of your evil camp? Queen STX looked at the undead knight in the picture and said in awe. Right. They are the important force of the Great Dark Temple, the Knights of the Dead. The status is probably similar to that of the Knights Templar of the Church of Light. However, the Necromancer Knights carry the pervasive spirit of the dead. In addition to having the same terrifying attacks as the Templar Knights, they also have more bizarre negative skills such as control, weakness, body dismemberment, and slowdown. Jun Linsang, I'm afraid I won't be able to escape. In the live broadcast barrage, there was a lot of curses. Grass. How insidious. The majestic Necromancer Knight, engaging in sneak attacks with players. Where did the King's Landing boss attract such a group of opponents, who are totally determined to fight to death? It's over this time. Facing a powerful opponent again. Suchen's Dragon Knight was fearless. There are only 300 meters left before breaking out of the confinement range of space. The Knights of the Dead are the last line of defense. Go ahead no matter what. My Dragon Riders, there is a strong enemy ahead. Tell me, are you afraid? Suchen shouted. Hundreds of Dragon Riders immediately shouted, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Suchen raised his sword and pointed at the undead knights charging towards him. Great Flame Dragon Rider, follow me and fight to the death. Fight to the death. Fight to the death. Fight to the death. The more unfavorable the situation is, the more brave and fearless the Great Flame Dragon Riders become. This is a unit that has no fear. A unit that has no gods or demons. The Dragon Riders are not even afraid of death, so how can they be afraid of the undead knights in front of them? Hundreds of Dragon Riders, Suchen roared in unison. This fearless blood and courage inspired the Earth Dragon sitting down to roar. Charge! The Thunder Dragon took the lead. Hundreds of Earth Dragons, carrying their respective Dragon Knights, angrily crashed into the Necromancer Knights. United as one. As the two sides approached 100 meters, Suchen activated his skill again. The 100-meter golden horse struck the undead knight commander opposite him angrily. The latter looked solemn, but he had already prepared. Undead ether. The body of the undead knight commander immediately became blurry, like a phantom. The golden horse slashed through the body of the undead knight captain, passing straight through as if cutting through the air. Instead, he cut an undead knight in the rear in half. Undead virtualization. Suchen has been reborn for the 9th time, so he naturally recognizes this move. Ignores physical attacks, but takes double damage from spell attacks. At the same time, the movement speed is reduced by 50%. Lasts 30 seconds. Chen thought. The thunder dragon under him was running at high speed, and the golden horn on its forehead slightly raised. A bolt of lightning as thick as an arm fell on the undead knight captain. Critical hit, -19770. A super high damage of nearly 20,000 floated above the head of the undead knight. Because of the guardian skill of the mount pet, the attributes are shared between the owner and the pet. The Thunder Dragon's lightning attack triggered the 5-pointer of Suchen's Shura sword. Double the critical hit attribute, plus double the spell attack damage, resulted in this amazing critical hit. After this blow, the knights of both sides finally collided. Boom! The absolute tonnage and size suppressed the undead. The knights were knocked upside down. However, the high attack of the undead knights emptied the remaining health of the dragon knights. These dragon knights, even at the last moment of their lives, shouted fight to the death and used the remaining blood in their hands. The golden spear was delivered fiercely into the opponent's chest. With level 15 spear skills, their attacks were sure to hit and critical. Suchen also suffered more than 3,000 attack damage. At the same time, continuous system prompts sounded in his mind. Sound. Ding. Your dragon knight was killed by Death Knight. Ding. Your dragon knight was killed by Death Knight. Ding. Just a charge. All 80 of Suchen's ordinary dragon riders were killed. Only 20 elite dragon knights with only a few hundred points of blood skin left were still following Suchen. The surrounding players looked at this brutal charge. Silent. It was obvious that Suchen's invincible dragon rider had been severely disabled. And looking at the current situation, whether the remaining 20 dragon knights can escape is a question. Too tragic. In fact, the King's Landing boss's dragon cavalry is already very good, worthy of the name of the invincible crown-ranked unit. After experiencing attacks from 2 super-level NPC knights, even if they were in a residual health state, they could still disrupt the opponent's formation and force the opponent's knights to take a virtual form and not dare to fight head-on. Dragon Rider, die without regrets. According to the expansion pack, the ancient Great Yan Empire had millions of dragon riders like this thousands of years ago. No wonder they were able to resist the gods and demons of the 6 realms and were invincible in the world. Just when everyone was sighing. Swish, swish, swish. A golden light flashes crazily on the ground. Ding. Your dragon knight has been resurrected with full health and full status. Ding. Your dragon knight has been resurrected with full health and full status. Ding. 80 dragon knights who died in battle were suddenly resurrected from the same place. And it's still full of blood and status. This scene shocked everyone. Yunfi Yiyan, the cute little white rabbit and the others are trapped in the undead bone warrior Wang Yang. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but scream with excitement. Sister! Resurrected! All come to life! I knew that Brother Junlin was invincible. The corners of Yunfi Yiyan's eyes turned red, and he swept away a circle of undead bone warriors with a sweep, shouting. Fire Phoenix Guild! Fight to the death! Break through these bone soldiers! Seemingly infected by Suchen's dragon rider, Yunfi Yiyan also shouted the slogan of a fight to the death. The 5,000 detachment of women instantly burst out with astonishing fighting power. The vast sea of undead bone warriors was actually punched out of a vacuum by them. Then they, fiercely not afraid of death, he rushed towards the reorganized Templar Knights. Buzz! The holy light fell. The Templar Knights consumed a resurrection order. The Templar Knight commander stood up unsteadily. The dark gold level helmet on his head disappeared, revealing a pale face. His gray hair was fluttering in the wind. He didn't even look at the Fire Phoenix Guild rushing towards him. Instead, he looked at the people who were about to break out of the confinement range of space from a distance. Su-chan. There was a hint of determination and a sneer on the corner of his mouth. He threw away the spear in his hand. He opened his arms, looked up to the sky and knelt down, and said with great piety, "Great God of light! I am your most devout believer. I am willing to use my flesh and blood to carry 1/1000th of your tiny power to judge the darkness in the world. Come down. Seraph of light."